Hello everybody, and welcome back to my channel, videos, things. Cool.
Oh, hello.
Alright, so today I'm going to be doing a video that I think is going to be the start of a new series. It's going to be, I think, a really interesting series, maybe a little bit different from what other people are doing. So just to set this series up a little bit, I think a lot of people out there post really good deck analyses, whole decks, everything like that. They show you all the different cards. I think those are amazing. I might do some of those in the future as well. But there's so many of them out there. I want to focus on individual tech cards, very specific things that you're going to put into particular decks. Because let's be honest, you can find the deck list or a variation of a lot of deck lists out there. But yeah, this is going to focus on those specialty cards, those maybe one-off cards. And this series is going to be called Spice Market. Basically, it's the idea that, you can go to a spice market. You get the reference, I think, right? I think Spice Market is a good name. I was also thinking Spice Girls. I don't know, things with spice. But the point is, this series is going to cover all of the spice that you can put into the deck that you're building. So, today's deck that we're going to talk about, probably the most popular deck in the format right now, we're going to talk about the spice that you can run in a Pikarom deck. Now, I think there's a lot of spice out there, some of which you maybe have seen from the last like pre-rotation stuff. I think Wobbuffet was a really good spice card in a mirror match especially, but not having Nest Ball means it's hard to find Wobbuffet, and you're already going to be searching for your Tapu Koko Prism Star if you're playing a Pikarom. So I don't think that's really a good spice. I'm going to give you 3 different spices. We're going to start with the most obvious and go to the one that everyone's going to be scratching their head and going, why? And I have a story behind it. So, first spice. First spice, which you've probably seen on, I think, a few different places now, but I think it is worth putting in here, is Dawnwing's Necrozma GX. Now, this card, you may have seen it already. I think it's a great tech card into this deck because basically its ability allows you to move this card from the bench to the active. It doesn't count as a retreat. So what you can do is if you have that Alolan Raichu and Raichu, or a Zapdos, or just something that you don't want in the active, you can use Dawnwing Necrozma's ability, get into the active, and if you have 1 energy, lightning energy attached to it, and a Zeraora on the bench, then you can retreat to whatever you want. So this sort of saves you from those awkward switch retreats, or basically the things you need to get things like Zapdos or Alolan Raichu running. So Dawnwing's Necrozma GX is my first little bit of spice. The next bit of spice is very situational, but for the situations that it can work in, it can be the difference between you winning the game and losing. And that spice is Dragonite GX and Mewtwo and Mew GX Tag Team. You can probably imagine how this one works, but I'll sort of lay out a scenario for you. So, let's say you take the first 2-3 prizes of the game, preferably 3, right? You take out your opponent's tag team or something, you got 3 prizes left. But you're up against a tag team that has 270 HP. And you're like, I have no idea how I'm going to take this down in one shot. The only way that you're going to get that is if you're doing Alolan Raichu and Raichu's GX with an Electro Power. Still very possible, but let's just assume that that's not an option for you. For some reason, you used your GX already to take down the first tag team. Well, if you have a Mewtwo on the bench, there's a variety of ways you can get the energy onto it. You can get the energy on via Pikarom's attack, which lets you accelerate 3 energy, so you can do that. You could also use energy switches and tag switches, which is a fantastic way of doing this. If you're playing this deck, you should be running tag switch and energy switch. So all you really need is 2 tag switches and an attachment for turn, or a tag switch and 2 energy switches and an attachment for turn. And you need to get the Dragonite into the discard pile. And if you can get that combination, which is not easy, I'm not gonna lie, it's not easy, but then you can promote the Mewtwo and Mew to the active, use Dragonite's 270 attack, and hopefully win the game that way. I think that's a really interesting tech against something like a Reshizard, especially Green's Reshi. There's so many healing cards in that you need to take that thing out immediately. On top of that, Green's Reshi, I think, is going to be playing a lot of Choice Helmet. So you're not only having to hit for 270, you have to hit for 300. And this 270 attack plus just 1 Electro Power will get you there. And now let's talk about the final little bit of spice that I think that you can add to this deck. And I'm going to tell you the card, and then I'm going to tell you the story and the logic behind it. It's very situational, but I think it's worth putting in there. And that card, that spice, it's spicy. This is a spicy one. That spice is Power Plant. Okay. Before all of you start freaking out over why the hell are you running a Power Plant in a Pikarom, hear me out. There's a couple of situations that I think it really helps. The first is actually the mirror match. So depending on the turn order, right? The thing about Pikarom is Pikarom matches, mirror matches, swing wildly side to side. Depending on who hits what off of their draws, you can be up 3 prizes to their 6, and then all of a sudden be up a creek, so to speak, because they took out your tag team and you don't have any other energy on the field. So what Power Plant can do in that situation is, if you can get your side of the board set up a little bit early on, use your Tapu Koko, get a couple of energy onto the field. Basically, you're in a position where you don't need to retreat necessarily. You throw that Power Plant down, and you slow that other Pikarom down significantly. By doing that, you basically say to them, hey, if you tagged me with your Pikarom for 150, charged up your Alolan Raichu tag team, and you're thinking you're just going to switch out, maybe tag switch, energy switch, and attach, whatever that might be, Thunder Mountain, I'm not going to let you do that because you're probably not running Switch in your deck anymore. A lot of people have stopped running Switch in Pikarom. You throw that Power Plant down and you say, there is no way that you're getting that Alolan Raichu GX and enough energy to use your GX for 250 on whatever I have out front. So that is one situation, and I know this from a bit of experience. I actually was at a tournament, playing against somebody else, their Pikarom deck versus some other deck that I was running. And I had Power Plants in that deck. And what happened was we were using the same sleeves, and he accidentally took my Power Plant and I accidentally took his Viridian because I was running both. And then what happened was he's playing later on in the night against a Pikarom as a mirror match. He throws a Power Plant down, and late game, this guy is like, this is the most next level fucking play in the world. This dude is running a Power Plant in a Pikarom. And if we hadn't realized that his Power Plant was actually mine, and so he took the Power Plant off the field because of that, if we hadn't realized that, he would have won the game because of that Power Plant. It's some crazy next level tech. It's probably not going to be used too often, but I think it's really interesting, honestly. Another couple of reasons you would throw it in there is if you're up against a Mew box, boom. Power Plant, you don't need to retreat. You got energy, you got tag switches in it, you're okay. And the other one is obviously if you're up against a Keldeo, so I'm trying to stall you out with that, you can hit through it. A couple of extra, I think, benefits of having one Power Plant. Not more. You're running one Stadium Nav, maybe 2, but so I think that is a really interesting final tech. Maybe I'm insane. I'm probably insane. Anyways, yeah, thank you so much for watching this video. If you have any other spice that you think can be added to a Pikarom deck, definitely leave that in the comments. I'd love to hear what you're running to really mix things up and keep your opponents on edge. Yeah, thank you for watching this. You can see some of my other videos, Unified Minds unboxings, other videos about the post-rotation stuff. Subscribe if you like that kind of stuff. And yeah, I'll catch you all later. Carpe awesome.